Today we are talking about the stock market crashing, Gazans being tortured by the Israeli military, also going to dive into Hamas demanding $500 million from Iran, some Israeli strikes that did not look very good, and that all on today's episode.
Traveling to consciousness, exploring spiritual journeys to find answers in uncertainty.
What is up, conscious monkeys? Welcome back to another episode of Traveling to Consciousness. As always, I'm your host, Clayton Cuteri, and in today's podcast, we have a juicy one for you. You kind of heard it at the beginning. Let's just jump right into it. If you don't know, on my Monday episodes, we talk about the news and things that I thought were interesting, because it is very exhausting to just sit down and watch the news for hours and hours and hours. So I decided that what would I want? I would want someone to kind of just take out the most important pieces, because a lot of it's just nonsense to begin with. But the very first thing that we are going to talk about is not any nonsense, and you've probably already heard of it going on. And it's something that I have been saying for maybe the last month or so that was just imminent, that was just going to happen in the coming future, and it is here. It's definitely something I wish I was wrong on, but unfortunately I was correct. And we have the beginning of a stock market crash. I don't know if it's going to get better anytime soon. We'll see. But essentially, what has happened on a global stage is that Trump announced sweeping tariffs on just about every single country. He did exclude a few of them, which is questionable. I believe he was pretty easy on Russia and Israel, which I think always brings up big asterisks. In my opinion, there are comments about how we don't really have any trade with Russia to begin with, so it could be like a little bit of a misnomer. But the point is that Trump came out and created these sweeping tariffs. Yeah, tariffs. We'll get to the terrorists later. Sweeping tariffs. And it dropped. I don't have the data in front of me. I saw this morning. So I am recording this on the morning of Monday, April 7th. The stock is already down. The stock market's already down about 3 to 5%. And it has dropped anywhere between that much over the last few days. So we could be looking in the 12 to 15% that the stock market has actually dropped. So that's, and I think that's kind of what is out there. I'm going to jump into my opinion of this, which is that, number one, Trump from the beginning always talked about how he was not going to create any new wars. And in my opinion, even this is considered a war. I see this as being a war on many fronts. I see this as being a war that, again, will hurt the common man, the common person, because when the stock market drops, more people become poor, and poor people die. I see this as being very bad for our immediate future. The prices are going to skyrocket because of it, and we're going to create a lot of problems. And to even just to jump into this a little bit more, something that also I've really been kind of, trying to take a step back and realize. I think I mentioned on here before that in 2015, I did vote for Trump. I have not voted for him since in the last two elections. And I think it was interesting because I remember in that first time I voted for him, catching myself with a lot of this mindset of, let's say it's 4D chess. He's playing 4D chess. He knows what he's doing, blah, 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 and what I have noticed is that it seems to me as though it's a bad way to view it, because I'm seeing that same argument coming up in regards to this stock market crash. Oh, Trump's playing 4D chess. He knows what he's doing. In the end, we're all going to be better. And I think that absolves him of the responsibility of what's happening now, right? Because when the stock market drops, more people die just from rising costs, from them not being able to afford things. They have to sell stuff. They have to become. So a lot of disparage happens between the middle or the upper and lower class. And so I don't like the sentiment of, oh, well, we got to crack a few eggs if we're going to make things better. I don't agree with that. I think that it's a lazy way to hold accountability to what is actually happening. People are going to die. There's less money in the system. It doesn't look good. People become afraid. When people become more afraid, they make bad decisions. It increases violence. And I think to sit back and be like, well, this is 4D chess and down the road. I don't buy it anymore. I don't agree with that viewpoint, if you will, of the world. I don't agree that that's a good way to move forward. And so I think that there needs to be accountability. He said he wasn't going to create any wars. This is a trade war, literally called a trade war. So he did create a war. And people financially are going to be hurt because of it. And I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good. But speaking of wars, and if we want to get into a more graphic, more literal, well, maybe not literal, but a more physical war, there are reports that have come out of Gazans, are being tortured by the Israeli military. And I know that this is going to be difficult to hear. So consider yourself braced for it. But there's reports of chemical burns, assault, electric shock. So this is currently being reported 3 hours ago by the BBC, stating that Palestinian detainees released to Gaza, they told the BBC they were subjected to mistreatment and torture by prison staff and the Israeli military. One man said he was attacked with chemicals and set alight. Quote, I thrashed around like an animal in an attempt to put the fire out that was on my body. He is a 36-year-old mechanic. And it seems like there were 5 of the detainees that were released, who had been arrested back whenever Hamas and other groups killed the 1,200 people in Israel. And I think it's just a difficult one. Basically, their testimonies kind of came down to this: is that they all described that they were stripped down, blindfolded, cuffs, beaten. Some of them said that they were given like electroshock, antagonized, kind of menaced by dogs. I don't really know what that means. Denied access to medical care, which, I mean, as Americans, we can relate to, right? That's a joke. But I mean, is it though? Some say they witnessed the deaths of other detainees, which that's got to be traumatizing at some level. A few of them one said that they witnessed sexual abuse of other detainees, which I think has definitely come out as well, that the Israeli military and is it the IDF? I think it's the IDF, were sexually assaulting civilians in Gaza. Another one said that this is so difficult, guys. So I apologize, but I think, another one said that he had his head dunked in chemicals and then his back was lit on fire. And guys, this is just evil. I think we have to call it for what it is. It's just pure evil, and war has always been evil. And the complexity too of this evil does not only exist in Israel. I want to be clear about that. It's not only a pervasive cancer that has taken over the Israeli military and government. No, it exists on both sides for sure. And the worst part is that the common people are the ones who pay for it time and time again. Always. It's always them. So even though I'm spotlighting the wrongs of Israel, we could even talk about what recently just came out regarding Hamas. And they're asking for a lot of cash, $500 million to be exact. And that's what is being reported, that Hamas wants Iran to fund them $500 million to keep fighting Israel. And this is like a leaked transcript. And this goes again, I think this is crazy. This goes again to something that I had also called. I called this. I don't remember how long ago. It was before the USAID thing came out. I called this that other governments, not just our own, are funding terrorist organizations. So you have a situation set up where our governments are the good guys and bad guys. However you want to define good and bad. Quote unquote, good and bad. In war, they all have created them. The good soldiers, the bad soldiers, however you want to divide that line. The terrorists, the non-terrorists, they're on both sides of this war. So whenever I see the atrocities that are occurring in those regions, and you realize that if you just stopped funding the terrorist organizations, we could very quickly have peace. It's very simple. Just stop. Literally just stop funding them. But to me, it doesn't seem like anyone really wants to do that. They'd rather create more evil in the world, because that's what it is. And I don't know if you saw, there were some strikes hitting Gaza that were pretty graphic, where, again, trigger warning, where there were some strikes where you could see human bodies flying in the air from the strikes, from the airstrikes that had occurred. And it's reported that at least 32 were killed in these, women and children included, because, again, there's no caring for human life whatsoever. And the timing of this was, also linked up to when Netanyahu's supposed to be coming to the United States. And he, in my opinion, I don't see that he really wants peace. I don't think so. Because he basically ended this ceasefire agreement. It was his decision whenever it was like, oh, they're not releasing hostages. Let's fucking just kill more people. Let's just kill them all. And I think it's literally, we're in a situation right now where it feels to me that we have children playing with nukes. Children playing with the lives of other people. Wanting to just create mass hysteria, mass evil, mass tragedy throughout the world. And until we put in leaders who actually care about the common people, who care about America being better, being returned to its status of greatness, I still don't think we're there. I really don't. I mean, look, if you're someone who travels too, you will know for sure what I'm saying when it feels as though America is turning, or has turned, into a third world country. America just doesn't have it. It still hasn't come back. The infrastructure is still lacking. The spirit of people is just, it's starting to come back. I feel like there is a little bit of that, but it's just not where it used to be. It's just not. And we need leaders to step up in this world, and not just in America. I see the numbers. I've got people viewing from, I think, almost every country, definitely every continent, except for Antarctica, at least that I'm aware of. And it takes leaders in every single country to say no, to make a difference, to realize this will take a little bit of time. Don't get me wrong. Been on this path now for about a year and a half. It takes time, 100%. We have to be vigilant, though. And that's the key, is that we have to be vigilant. We have to be dedicated to this pursuit of peace. Because as much hand waving that goes on in the governments, I don't see it. I don't believe that they actually want peace. So our foreign and domestic policies, not even our policies, but the actions that we've taken foreign and domestically, have just been a train wreck, to say the least. Absolute train wreck. And so I say that to hopefully encourage you to get involved in, even if it's not the American Congress Party. I think you should. I think American Congress Party is the future of America. I called it twice already in this podcast. Maybe I'm going to call it a third time. And this is a bigger one, right? Which is America becoming the future of American politics, because I truly believe that. I believe that as much as I intuitively know that to the same degree in which I knew that the stock market was going to eventually collapse, to the same degree in which I knew that governments are funding these terrorist organizations. It's just a knowing. There's not really any other way to put it out there. And so if you're feeling that itch, that call to serve something that's bigger than yourself, reach out to me. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. Shoot it in DM to American Congress Party Instagram. Because we have to come together. We need to take the best policies of every single party and to actually do them. And currently I see no one or nothing that is doing those things. There are no leaders supporting this vision and this mission. We have to win. We must win. The fate of nature depends on it. The fate of this world depends on it. The fate of the next generation depends on it. And so I have to keep going. We have to keep going. We have to prevail. We have to find a way to become the leaders of the world. And by we, I'm referring to the spiritual people who want peace and prosperity for all, who want balance and harmony, who want their children to see a brighter future. When I say we, that's who I'm talking about. So come join American Congress Party. See how you can get involved. Shoot me a message and let's go. Let's change the world for the better. Let's put responsible men and women in charge. No longer should we allow kids to run our governments and our everything. We have to become powerful. So with all that being said, I appreciate you all for checking in. Please join the American Congress Party so we can save nature, so we can save the world. And if you're still a little weary on it, you're still not sure, then come, let's talk about it whenever I see you in the 6th dimension.